Welcome to Spiritually Raw. We expose and explore controversial truths, myths, and theories surrounding the spirit world. Guests include QAnon experts, investigators, debunkers, and skeptics of the supernatural, unexplained, and flat-out unimaginable. Content discussed on this show is not necessarily the opinion of the cast of Spiritually Raw, and topics quite often are for mature audiences only. This show is not intended to replace any medical, financial, or legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hey everybody, what's going on? I know you have a show to watch, so let me get real quick into this with you. Okay, so Ascended Masters you're watching right now, browse, select, ascend. It's very easy to use. All you have to do is scroll down here. You're going to see the different categories, sessions, courses, products, entertainment, books, conscious business growth. All you do is you simply click on the category that's resonating with you or that you're in need of, and you're going to see a video directory of some of the greatest minds out there. And within 5 to 7 minutes, you'll find out who that person is, what their style is, and if they're going to help you on your journey called life. It's a very easy formula to follow right here. And also too, if you're one of those who does have a product or service that you think that will be a benefit to others and you'd like to be on Ascended Masters, our email is in the description below. It's askspirituallyraw@gmail.com. We'll set up a time to chat and see how you can make a difference in the world for people. So hope you're enjoying the site, everybody. Thanks for sharing this, and much love to you. And most importantly, enjoy the show. We'll see you next time. Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Spiritually Raw. And as always, thank you so much for your energy exchange with us today. And we hope you woke to the most miracle morning and are also having the most fortunate day today. You are going to love our soul brother here, Jerry Sargeant. And April's going to tell you about Jerry in just a minute. He came all the way across the pond to spend some time with us. Depends what kind of pond you're at, right? What side of it is. But anyway, we'll learn about Jerry in just a second. So, hey, thanks for staying connected with us. All the links are in the description below. If you haven't already, hit that big red button that says subscribe. It lets us know when we get great guests like Jerry on here, and turn on that notification bell. So that's when you are aware. So missing anything?
Just real quick, if you could kindly also share the video, all of us would greatly appreciate it very much.
There you
Thank
go.
you so much.
So about Jerry, yes?
All right, let's talk about Jerry. I love your image behind you too, the lion. That's awesome.
Wake up the lions.
Yeah, it's a great image. Okay, Jerry Sargeant, he's the founder of Star Magic Healing. He's one of the most sought after healers, bar none. Star Magic harnesses super powerful extraterrestrial light frequencies to receive energy upgrades, open your third eye, create prosperity, and embrace love. He's an international best-selling author and world-renowned for creating rapid shifts within and transforming lives on the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual planes. Awesome. We are so excited for him to be here. And make sure to check out his YouTube channel at YouTube/Star Magic Healing.
Yeah, all the links will be in the description below, everybody. All right, brother, welcome, man. Let's get to know you. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it, man. So I want to dive right in if we can. And, so let's talk a little bit about this extraterrestrial light frequency. How does that work? Like, can you give us a scope of that?
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of sort of like explain it to people that are new to it, the best way to describe it is, you've got a website, right? And a website might be yellow and you might want to change the color to blue. So what you do is you get a programmer to go into the back end of the system and change the code. Mm-hmm. So a human body is the same. A human body is a biological computer, essentially, and it's downloading data. It's downloading data from the space around it. It's downloading data from the quantum field, from any soul experiences, past and future. Everything's parallel in the quantum space, in the now space. And everything is just data and information. And some of these data streams are positive, and some of these data streams are not so positive. Some of them cause enable a human being to be empowered, and some of them, cause chaos and destruction in a human being's, physical reality. So what we do is we basically go into the back end of someone's biological computer, their body and the brain, and we use different light frequencies to change the code, just like a computer analyst.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, and then so you change the code on the back end, and then the physical symptoms change on the front end, because the body itself is just a communication device. And if you've got, heart issue or eye issues or liver issues. The body is just saying, hey, listen, brother, sister, you need to look at this. But we don't know how to read the body and communicate and listen to this communication. So we go to the doctors, big pharma, whatever, we get drugs, we hand our power over. But, every single human being has the ability to self-heal. And me personally, I'm not really a healer. All I do is facilitate a process by changing the data in the back end, which enables the human being to then heal themselves.
What are you triggering when you go there? So when you go in the back end and you're helping enable them, can you give us a glimpse, if you would, of what you're triggering to get them to have that aha moment of like, oh, okay, I know where I need to go?
Yeah. I mean, it depends. There's so many different ways you can kind of skin a cat, and the thing is, it's not really about having that aha moment.
Okay.
There's ways of creating the aha moment for people by doing it on a more conscious level. But what we do is we go in the back end and we change the data streams, and the physical healing just takes place. They don't even have that aha moment. We do the work, and then they kind of transition. Now, there may be certain times when you go in and you speak to a human being and you don't even do the back end work. You can work on the front end. So, for example, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, there's so many. I had a lady in India, okay, and she had a blocked up throat. She was an elderly lady, and this was a couple of years back, and her niece or someone in her family, granddaughter, contacted us and said, listen, have a family member, she's in hospital, she can't eat, she can't breathe properly, she's on all these kind of tubes, she's in hospital, is there anything you can do? And of course, I always say yes. I never say no. Even if I haven't got a clue how I'm going to help someone, I always commit to it and then just work out how I'm going to do it later, because the universe always provides once you commit. Mm-hmm. So I went in to do this healing session, and the first thing that we always train people in is you've got to open up the field. So we always ask this question: please show me something I don't know to help me facilitate the healing of this incredible human being. By asking the question, please show me something I don't know, you're not following a system, okay? And star magic is not a system. When you start to, like, say, for example, someone comes in and they say, oh, Jerry, I've got cancer. So you work on it and you manage to facilitate the healing. If another human being comes the next week with the same cancer, you're not going to go in and do the same thing, because they're a completely different human. They're a completely different soul with completely different experiences. So you've got to ask the question again and start to play the game again. So we always ask the question, please show me something I don't know. And that opens you up to the infinite field of possibilities, and the universe starts to show you information. And then what you've got to do is play the game. So with this lady in India, I said, please show me something I don't know to help me facilitate the healing. And the first thing I saw was a frog. And a lot of people would think, well, there's a frog. What am I going to do with the frog? Like, I'm trying to heal this human being. There's a frog, like, get out of my space. But actually, the universe is presenting to you some information. And it's just that your logical brain is perceiving it in the format of a frog. Now, this frog spat some venom out of its mouth, and it landed in a jar that just appeared in front of me. So I asked, what am I supposed to do with this venom? And then a blue light came down from space and came into the jar. Then I started mixing it up and kind of making a potion out of it, like in a laboratory. And then I got an imaginary syringe. I sucked up the liquid and injected it into the back of the lady's neck. The next day she walked out of hospital. So, like, what is the frog? What is the blue light? What is the venom? I mean, you can go in and find that information out, but does it really matter? If the universe is providing you with the information, the tools, and you use it and it works, that's great. Now, if you look at a frog and you go into kind of Native American Indian medicine, the frog is all about the throat, and this lady had a bad throat. So the universe is bringing in, information and tools that can help you. The blue light is just some kind of frequency that was a healing frequency. And the venom, that came out of the frog was obviously, it needed to be merged with these light frequencies to create the healing. And all I did was inject it into the back of her neck. And she'd been in hospital for a couple of months, They were about to switch off her life support machine and say, listen, there's nothing we can do with her anymore.
Wow.
Do you have a, when you were seeing the frog and the venom and the blue light, were you speaking metaphorically? I just want to clarify for our audience's point. Were you speaking more metaphorically, or was this something literally you actually saw a frog and a blue light, shine down?
Absolutely, it was there with my third eye. It's 100% there in the space, in the quantum field. It's there. Yeah, literally as clear as I'm looking at you two on the screen.
Mhm.
Now, like that is one way of going in and creating healing. Now, the other thing that we've done, we've developed a whole stream of codes. So someone might come to us and say, listen, I've got this particular issue. So we'll say, okay, what we'll do is we'll use this particular code. So what we'll do is we download the code, and the code is a load of geometrical, mathematical frequencies blended into a code that we've created in the quantum field, which we've meditated on and used over and over. And the more people that use it, the stronger it gets. So we just download it into someone's crown, their biological computer. It goes into the pineal gland. The pineal gland will download that into every cell of the human body, and then healing takes place. There's so many different ways of kind of playing around with it. It just depends, like what the issue is, what's going on with the human.
Are they, when you're tapping that, you got something?
No, go ahead.
When you're tapping your information, wherever that's coming from for you, do you have you been able to, is it an entity of sort? Is it a collective that has helped guiding you and showing you or giving you the information?
Well, it's back 2009. I got taken up in a spacecraft when I was in New Zealand, meditating in a pyramid, and I got taken to Alpha Centauri. And back then, like, I wasn't really on my spiritual journey properly. I'd started it, but like extraterrestrials and all that was like, it's just completely out there. And I thought it was nuts, but I was meditating in my friend's pyramid in New Zealand in his garden. And a little space pod comes down, and I take my light out of my body because I've been trained how to do that. I went and got in it, and we went through a tunnel. And about 3, 4, 5 seconds, came out the other side. We're above a beach. I got out of the space pod, walked up the beach, and about 200 blue beings, about 6.5, 7 feet tall. And I knew we were on Alpha Centauri. I knew they were Lyran. I'd never heard of Lyrans or Alpha Centauri, but this information was just streaming into me. Mm-hmm. I started getting information on how long they were pregnant for, what food they ate, and all this sort of stuff. And they gave me a hug. And when they hugged me, the love that I felt was out of this world. Like I just felt like I was home. And then once they'd kind of hugged me and we kind of had this kind of like reunion, they kind of made way for me to walk up the beach and in through the trees, through this kind of jungly area. And we went to like this big kind of lights. It was like a building, like a pyramid created of light. And there was a really old blue being in there. Like imagine you went to a Native American site and there was an elder. It was like a Lyran elder.
Like a Lyran sage?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like he just looked like millions of years old, but at the same time, he looked very youthful at the same time,
Right.
And this being asked me to kneel down. And when I kneeled down on the floor, they downloaded all this orange light and geometry into my crown. And this is where it started. And that was, 11 years ago now.
How long did that experience last? Was it 5 minutes, an hour?
I don't even know. Like it could have been like 30 seconds. It could have been 2 hours. Like it felt like when I was there, like there was no time. Mm-hmm. When I came back into my kind of meditation, came back in the craft, it must have been about 45 minutes to an hour. But how long I was there, it's really hard to tell. As soon as it had finished, 2 of them kind of picked me up underneath my arms and frog marched me real fast back to the space pod, stuck me inside, boom. I was back through the tunnel and back in the garden. Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
Has it ever happened? Have you been able to ever duplicate that experience or something similar to it? That's pretty intense.
I've never been picked up in a spacecraft again, but I've had loads of similar experiences. Yeah, like when I first started my journey back in 2004. I mean, I used to smuggle drugs for a living, and then I was in a car crash and my whole life changed around. And then I bumped into this lady through a strange chain of events. And she worked for Scotland Yard in the psychic division, and she had a past life regression business, and she taught me how to remote view and lots of different things. So I was really lucky at the start of my journey to kind of get upskilled pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So I've had so many incredible experiences. I mean, at the start of my journey, I mean, I was researching 2012 and the end of the Mayan calendar, and some friends of mine were so curious. We were like babies, we just wanted to know everything. And we went to this kind of little talk that was given by a guy in a place called Basingstoke, just outside London. And we were sat in this like old dated bungalow. There's only about 6 or 7 people there, and this guy was talking, and he was talking, and I asked him a question. It was a little bit contradictory, but I was curious, and he just stopped and he looked into my eyes and his face disappeared and there was a lizard. And I'm looking at him thinking, what the fuck? What is going on, man? Like in my mind, I'm like, you know, I'm trying to keep cool as a cucumber on the outside, but on the inside, I'm like, you know, this is crazy, man. And he held my stare for ages. And then his face kind of just disappeared and he went back to a human again. So like these kind of experiences have happened a lot. I mean, I've had faith encounters with reptilians, draconians, different beings directly.
This, Jerry, started happening after you were, you know, went on the ship. Is that when they really started to break out?
Well, I had a few experiences before that. I mean, the encounter with this when the guy's face changed was before that. But once I came back from New Zealand, because I moved to New Zealand because I thought the world was going to shift so much. I got this map. Like me and my friends were like looking at all of this kind of like Mayan calendar stuff, and we got this map from a place called the Matrix Institute in America, and it showed the world flooded. And the UK had gone and New Zealand was like quadrupled in size. We thought New Zealand's a safe place to go. So we moved there. And we stayed there for a few years. Yeah, well, you know, I always follow my heart, you know, and just go with the flow. So I'm always moving and just going places and just doing what the universe lays down in front of me. But when we went there, obviously I had this experience with the extraterrestrials. We opened a health and fitness center there, and I started giving back to the community. So this started changing me from being like a really egotistical person that just wanted money and cars and all that crap to someone that actually cared about other people and wanted to do things for humanity. So there was a lot of reasons for going there. It shifted me majorly. But then once I'd had that experience with the spacecraft, I had to come back. And then when I came back to England, I was out running one morning, and I saw some fairies flying around a tree. So I stopped and I'm looking at them thinking, what, you know, ETs, now fairies. And then an angel came down and he said,
an angel.
An angel.
Yeah, he said, my name's Archangel Gabriel. He said, you need to write a book. So I said, what's it called? He said, it's called Into the Light. It's about your life. So I ran home, I opened up my computer, and I just wrote this book in about 4 weeks. And then once I'd wrote it, I published it. And then I started seeing all the geometry that got downloaded when I was on the spacecraft. And I was saying to my guides, what am I supposed to do with this stuff? You know, I'm seeing this stuff all the time now. They said, you've got to meditate more. You're being lazy, Jerry. Start meditating more. So I was getting up every morning at like 5 o'clock with my son, Josh. We were going into these meditations, and we were going to these classrooms underneath the pyramids in Egypt. And I'd sit at these like little old school desks, and I'd look left and I'd look right. And there was loads of other humans in there. We went every day for 2 hours for 9 months. And there was a guy at the front of the room, and he was getting out these scrolls. And on the scrolls was the same geometry I was seeing in the space and the same geometry that got downloaded. And he was showing us how to use it to heal people. So once that kind of happened, people started coming into my life that needed healing. And I was thinking, let me just see if this stuff actually works. And I was trying it, and it was working. And I kept doing it, and it kept working. And I thought, maybe I could turn this into a business. And then my ex-wife was in a bookstore, and this book jumped out of the shelf, and it was about this guy called Joe the Diviner, who's an Irish healer. And she brought it home and gave it to me and said, I think you need to read this. So I read it. And it was about this guy that had started a healing business in his shed. And I thought, listen, if this guy can do it, I can do it too. So I got some kind of like business cards made up. I went to a local mind, body, spirit festival, and I was promoting my book Into the Light, but also energy healing. There was no star magic then. It was just energy healing. And I had like a little stand, and I said to people, put your name down, and I'm going to draw 3 names out of the hat at the end of the weekend. And whoever wins, I'm going to give a free healing to. About 70 or 80 people put their name down. I phoned every single one and told them they won, just so I could practice. So I had like 70 or 80 people to practice on. So I was working on all those people, and people were getting good results. So I got loads of video testimonials and just set up a website and just started it. And that's kind of, you know, how
awesome.
it, you know.
When you went through this experience, how did you, as you got taken into the ship and started going through this journey, it seems like it went pretty intense for you. You saw the fairies, Archangel Gabriel. How did this, or did it change your perspective of the divine, the infinite? You know what I mean? As far as how you previously maybe perceived it, if you would, or, you know, whatever that source is. Did that change it? Or did you always know that this is kind of what I imagine the source to be?
Well, to be honest with you, like when I grew up, you know, I didn't believe in anything. I was very, like, I don't know, I was just a 3D child, I suppose. Like at the time, that's what I thought. Anyway, when I look back now, I realized that I was being taken in dream time. There's a few different things that I've realized since I've woken up and gone back. There was some of my memory was blanked as a child. Like I got raped when I was 2 months old by my first foster parents, but I know that split my personality, to fragment my consciousness, to try and control me, because I did have a lot of knowledge to offer the planet. So they kind of targeted me when I came in, but that's like a whole other story. But growing up as a kid, I had adoptive parents eventually, and they were kind of just completely 3D people, drunk, smoke, just normal 3D jobs. They weren't into anything. I went to church once as a kid, thought it was a load of rubbish, and that was it. Like God, all that stuff, it was just a million miles away from me. I'd never even kind of contemplated it really. So to go on this journey, it was kind of like really new. But the way the universe orchestrated it for me, it really cleverly did it, because if I go back to like 2004, my friends and I had a property business, and it went tits up. We made millions and then it went bust. And what happened is we got kicked out of our house. We lost all our money, everything. So the universe stripped me of everything. And that was the best thing that happened to me. We got kicked out of our house. I was on the street with my ex-wife and 2 kids. They were babies at the time, and we had no money. I remember going to my mate's house and borrowing £50 to feed them one day. And eventually I actually went back to selling drugs for a little while just to get a bit of cash together to get a new house. So we ended up renting this property. And then when I was in the property, I was watching TV one night. My ex-missus comes downstairs and she said, Jerry, every time I close my eyes, I see all these dark images and hear all these dark voices. And she said, when I was pushing Alea, our daughter, down the street the other day, something was trying to make me push the pushchair into the road in front of the car. And I looked at her and I thought, you sound bonkers. But I was like, I love you. What do you want to do about it? So she said, I want to call my friend who's a priest. So she did that. The priest came around the house. She's dousing the house with crosses and putting all this stuff up. And I was sat there thinking, this is like something out of the poltergeist, man. And anyway, she calmed Laura down. Laura went to bed. The next day I went to see my friend and I said to him, this weird thing happened in our house last night. I said, what do you make of it? He said, you've got to speak to this lady. And this is how I met my first spiritual teacher. So I phoned her up and she didn't answer the phone. She called me back a little bit later and she said, where do you live? And I said, 316 Richmond Road. That's the only bit of the address I gave her. She said, hold on a minute. The phone went quiet. And then she said, have you been knocking some walls down in your house? I said, well, actually, we've just moved into the house. It's rented, but the previous owner has clearly built an extension. She said, you've definitely, you've got an angry old man in your house. I said, angry old man? She said, yeah, you've got an angry old man. I said, okay, well, what are we going to do about it? She said, I'll get rid of him for you. So I said, okay, when are you going to come down? She lived the other side of the country. She said, I don't even need to come to your house. I can do it from here. So I thought, this is getting stranger and stranger. We parted company on the phone. I went home and I spoke to my missus and I said, listen, I know I didn't tell you this, but I spoke to this lady about what happened last night. And she said, there's an angry old man in our house. And Laura turned around to me and said, I know, I've seen him. So that's what got me. That's what got me. That's how the universe set it up to kind of like transition me. And I was like, well, if you've seen her and this lady's seen her, you've never spoken to each other, you've got no common friends, there must be some truth to it. So I phoned her back up. I said, listen, I don't know what you do, but I've got to come and see you. So I went to see her. I got regressed into a past life and I was like, this is amazing. And I was like hooked. So I went to see her 3 times a week for a few years. And I became like, just engrossed in it. I was so infatuated with it. I wanted to know everything. And that's what kind of like, leveled me up a bit,
When did the accident happen? Was that before or after this event?
Hello, everybody. How are you? Much love to you. It's very good to see you and hang out with you. I hope you're having a fantastic day here. So let me give you some updates about what's going on with Spiritually Raw. So as you can see right here, right, a new facelift. I hope you like it. Okay, so this is the new facelift, the image of the site. So watch Evolve Ascend. It's very cool, very streamlined. Everything's broken down in very easy catalogs, playlists for you to watch whatever kind of topic you're looking for to help you on your journey called life. So let's check it out together. All right. So literally here you go, the home page right here. You can scroll down. If you're already a member, same login and password as you normally do. If you're not, you can click right here, join now, get a 3-day free trial, check out and binge on the whole network as much as you want. I hope you like it. and I'm sure you will, but that's 3 days on us. Okay, so don't forget to check that out if you're not already. Here's some videos that are recent that we just put up there that you'll be able to check here. Now, also too, I want to go back here real quick, catalog. So this is how we've broken it down for you. Super simple and very easy playlist. New releases, intuitive psychic mediums, The Great Awakening, metaphysical, current events, 2020 videos for those of you who want to take a trip down memory lane and see how that all worked out. Prosperity, special report, I mean, so on and so forth. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We have really brought together the best minds out there that are coming in to entertain us, but then to break it down so simple, again, to help us on our journey called life. So this is really cool here. So also I want to point out here for those of you who have actually said, hey, you know, I do want to have my own show. We also have a master course preview, and that's there to designed to teach all of you who would like to have your own show, or maybe even need some help in being interviewed when you are on other shows too. But let's go down a little further. I want to show you something else. So for all of you out there who have Roku, you simply need to click here and you can now watch us on Roku TV. Coming soon within the coming weeks, within probably a week or so, you'll see us on the iPhone, Apple. We're streaming everywhere. You'll be able to download the app soon on Apple. But as of right now, like I said, you can stream us anywhere there. So, and these are some examples of the topics that you're going to be watching when you do go to spirituallyraw.live. So thank you very, very much for hanging out with us as you always do. Really do hope you are having the most miracle mornings and are having the most fortunate days. And this really is bringing you a lot of value. And again, helping you on your journey called life. So thanks again, and we will see you all next time.
We'd like to share a story. While it may sound fictional, it's very real and happening right now in front of our very eyes. It's called The Great Awakening. Our sisters and brothers that come on Spiritually Raw are doing everything to help expand global consciousness, and in many cases putting everything on the line to share their messages about what's happening around the world for the greater good of humanity, while exposing the truth of the deep state and the dark forces behind it all. We are living in the most unbelievable times. Some may even say biblical, scary for many and yet exhilarating for others. Together we are taking part in getting everyone acclimated to the Great Awakening process and the exciting new discoveries that lie ahead. The sad part is many of our amazing guests are being heavily censored, socially shamed, and outright banned on many platforms for exposing the truth and piercing the veil. By becoming a viewer, you bring your powerful energy towards this global movement of other truth seekers. If you're resonating with our show, please let us know by hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, turn on the notification, and leave some comments. Together, we will turn the universal key to global harmony and create a unified world. And remember, tune in often, tell all your friends, and most importantly, may all your dreams come true. Thanks, and God bless Patriots worldwide.